Hi everyone, it's me Crafty. Welcome back to my channel. So I was requested to do another video on my Book of Shadows, and she's covered in hair. If you go back through my videos, I've got a really old video, probably from like 11 years ago, of this Book of Shadows, and as you can see, it's still the same one. So it's still the same 5-inch 3-ring binder that I had a special order and cover in crushed black velvet. I just glued the velvet on inside and out, as you can see. I've got some stuff in here that is tucked away. I've got a calligraphy pen that I use. Is it all in calligraphy? No. Originally, I had typed a lot of the stuff out, and I don't know what it is. I think as time went on, and maybe as I got older, I wanted to just add some color and personalize it a bit more. So I started writing stuff out, and it takes forever. I've got horrendous handwriting, looks like chicken scratch. So there's a blessing. I put letters in here to my kids. You can see here that a mouse got to my Book of Shadows, or my Grimoire, whatever you want to call it. I use the terms interchangeably. Here again, there's a little bit of evidence of mice. Here is my index. So I've kept the same index. I've got 31 sections here. I write what each section is in pencil so that I can move things around or delete them or add them as I see fit. And it just saves time. I can just flip to whichever number that section is and just, you know, get her done. So yeah, I just kind of explain like my magical name, my Indian name, or my ceremonial name that I got when I was little, and like even my handle that I've been using, that kind of thing. I'll draw things, visions, stuff that I've seen. So yeah, I just decorated with markers. Be careful. Some markers will soak right through the paper. Some don't, so you just gotta experiment, see what works with you. Just wrote different stuff, that's all. Yeah, so started doing this. I like the fact that there's some color in here. That's just what I've done. So yeah, I just included different things, the Pipestone legend, how that came to be, different types of prayers and concepts, and I've even got lyrics in here, like Laura the Dance lyrics, one of my favorite songs, deities. I had taken a Greek mythology course at the university, and so I included the write-ups and stuff from that course, which were very, very helpful. I thought they give you kind of like the genealogy of all the different Greek gods and goddesses, and going all the way back to the very beginning when it was just chaos. So like actual like chaos. And all that fun stuff, and how the Titans were born, and then from them the Olympians and all that jazz. Here is a type section all on gods and goddesses from around the world, and if they're male or female, any colors that are kind of attributed towards them, if that makes sense. I don't know what I'm talking about. Any animals, any other like little notes, that kind of thing. And then what I started doing is I would just get like parchment paper or whatever, and I would just get like random pictures and stuff and like put them in various places, and then I would just after write around it and stuff. I just thought it would give it a little bit more color and interest. So yeah, that's, you know, I talk about medicine bags and bundles, feathered fans, rattles, drums, personal shields. altar diagrams. I talk about altars, different types of altars. I do a drawing here. I talk about robes, different symbols, talismans, all that kind of fun jazz. I'm not going to go through everything. We'll be here for hours. Here I talk about family history, from the Steiniger, Pellicet, Capos, all that kind of stuff. That won't pertain to anybody other than my descendants. Talk about moon phases, different correspondences. Talk about selecting stones, crystals, gems to work with. How to cleanse them. Yeah. Talk about good and bad medicine here. Or bad magic, good magic, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, talk about my grandmother, my Cookum, which means grandmother in Cree, Les Pelche, her teachings and stuff in here. Then I talk about bad medicine or bad magic again. Talk about how to destroy it, how to send it back to the person that sent it to you. This stuff, this is an envelope. I really wish I kind of done it the other way because it's awkward. But so these are my mother's notes that she took from my grandmother. And my grandmother was training her. Then I made my own copy of notes from when my mom was training me. So there's, I can't show it to y'all, but I can show some of it to you guys. I gotta keep on. Okay, so there's medicine here, how to cure TB, like tuberculosis, flu, medicine for the lungs, medicine for protection, paralysis, like if they send bad medicine to you, how to paralyze you, how you counteract that. There's medicine here, how to cure sugar diabetes, burns, sores, cuts, all that other kind of stuff. Different types of protection, medicine for the eyes. So like there's like physical ailment type of medicine, and then there's the like the I don't even know how to pronounce it, or I don't even know what word I'm looking for. Kind of like the psychic self-defense, the bad medicine that they send to like cripple or harm you in some way, or like to possess a person. So we just all call it medicine or magic. Use whatever term you want. So it's all in here. What to use what for and how to prepare things and that kind of stuff. So those are just little notes on just a few of the things. I've got other notes of hers that I have to add yet to this book of mine, but I haven't. There's some more stuff. So here's that. Some automatic handwriting sessions. Years ago, I had been invited to a pagan festival, I think in Colorado. I was supposed to present on like protection. So I had put together this little booklet that kind of talked about different ways you can protect yourself spiritually, that kind of thing. Some flower essence information, infused oils. Got write-outs or handouts here that I taped in here or glued in regarding different types of information. Here I've got Four Thieves vinegar history and assorted recipes for all different types of Four Thieves vinegar. How to make full moon water. I'm just kind of skimming over a bunch of stuff because, you know, don't want to bore you guys, and we don't have enough time anyway to cover every single thing. things for like rashes and headaches, kind of like your common, you know, ailments. Different types of spell work. And then this I started doing, oh gosh, I think 4 or 5 years ago, somewhere in there. So I started making, if you notice this paper is different colored, I started making magically infused paper with different types of like you could use like teas or coffees or whatever, but I would use like different types of herbs and make like a tea out of it, and then I would soak the paper in there, and then it would turn color, and then like say you use herbs for prosperity and wealth and abundance, you soak the paper in there, then you let the paper dry, and then I would write like a chant or something like this on the paper, and then I would take a lighter and then I would burn around the edges, and I just thought it looked really cool. I really liked the effect of that. I just thought that looked awesome. So I done that, or started doing that way back then. And then, yeah, I just talked about some manifestation work, some other stuff in here. Magically infused paper, how to make that. And here's another one that I had made. So I really like the burnt edge look, and like it being like jagged and kind of ripped up and stuff like that. It just, I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, and then back in here, I want to talk about my mom's death. And then I go into, and I'm no artist, but I tried. So I had made videos a long time ago about like all the different types of little people that we have at my grandparents' farm, my mom's place, that kind of thing. So like here's like the hairy people. I try to draw them. I'm so sorry, I can't draw. And I just talk about like the hairy people. That's what we call them, or what our family has always called them, and what other families in the Yorkton area will call them. And, you know, I give a description. They're short, they're about 3 feet tall. They're completely covered in long hair, including their faces, hands, arms, necks, like everything. They're hairy. They live in the banks near sloughs, lakes, and also in mounds, such as the Cherry Hill at the farm. They have families of their own, so they will have children. They love to play pranks on people. They're very mischievous. They have very powerful medicine. They're known to eat fish. They prefer offerings of sugar. They have the ability to enter homes as they wish. It doesn't matter if your windows and doors are closed and locked, they can still somehow get in. They move very fast. They look similar to like a dwarf, except they're completely covered in dark hair. Then I just talked about like different stories, different experiences our families have had. They've been known to take children. So like if you're not looking after your children properly, they will take your kids from you and you won't get them back, or it takes very strong medicine person to bring them back, to retrieve them. So I talk about that. I talk about a P.O.Box, which kind of look like the stereotypical like gray alien with the almond eyes. They've got like just kind of like little slits for the nose, like a very thin narrow slit for the mouth. They look like a skeleton that's had like gray skin stretched over top of it, but their hands, they got like super long fingers which they will use to disembowel people. The P.O.Box is an entity that is usually associated with evil, yet they have been known to help people, sometimes even protecting and healing them. It is said that P.O.Box, and I just spelled it phonetically because I have no idea how it's actually spelled. It is said that P.O.Box are the souls of people who died in storms or in violent deaths. They have been around for generations. There are many stories and legends about these beings. They have been known to travel In storms, particularly snowstorms, you'll hear them before you see them. When they travel in storms, they sound like a loud shout or gunshot. They enjoy tormenting dogs and horses that are left outside during such weather. They can fly, and they like to eat choke cherries. After eating the cherries, they'll pile the pits, because a choke cherry has like a little seed in the middle of it, into very neat piles that resemble pyramids. When you hunt, always leave a meat offering for them by hanging the meat, usually some of the organs, in a tree with some tobacco. And then I talked a little bit more about some legends that happened with them. Talked about my auntie Lorena that actually saw one and what her experience was. I talked about my experiences and my son's experience with one. I just talked about how there's one that kind of, we nicknamed him the Squawker. We call it a him, don't know. And we actually would leave offerings out for it. It kind of adopted our family, and so whenever there's like something that's going to happen, we call it the Squawker, will kind of let us know. And I just give a description. They're about 3.5 feet tall, maybe up to 4 feet. They've got gray skin, like nothing really for a nose, a thin slit for a mouth, huge black eyes, no eyelids. They have no hair, no eyebrows, no eyelashes. They're very, very skinny. Looks like a skeleton with gray skin stretched over it. No noticeable ears. They have extremely long fingers and long grayish nails. They have the ability to fly, that moves lightning fast, loves traveling in storms, teasing animals, usually considered bad or evil, resembles modern descriptions of aliens. Nobody knows for sure what they are. They eat choke cherries and meat. Then I put a question here. Are they a spirit, a life form? I feel that perhaps they are something caught in the middle. And then, so yeah. And then I talk about how to send a pakak away. You throw lard into a fire, like a wood stove or a fireplace, and start with like about half a cup of lard if there's like a lot of them, because they've been known to also travel in groups, not just by themselves, and that should help send them away. Also smudge with sage and sweetgrass. You're supposed to keep your curtains and your windows like closed. If you have a dog outside, bring the dog in before they arrive, no matter what, because once they get there, and if your dog is outside, you do not go outside to get your dog. And it's not good for the most part. Talk about the fae. Yeah, I can't draw, but you know, my cats are going crazy. I talk about zombie medicine and how to make it, how to cure that, and then what, I've got some magically infused papers back here that I haven't used yet, and that's it for my Book of Shadows tour. So it has changed, and I feel sometimes that I've really destroyed it because it seems to be a little bit unorganized. To me, it just kind of feels that way. It's nowhere near to being how I want it to be yet, but it's always going to be a work in progress. I have another Book of Shadows that actually looks like a giant green, kind of like the Charmed one there. And the paper is massive. It's like you have to order special size paper for it. I've got a few things written in there. I really don't use that one a whole lot, at least not yet. I've seen some glue Book of Shadows, which is very different. I'd never heard of that before. So that's kind of interesting. I have this really old giant atlas, and I was thinking maybe I can convert something like that into that as well and make some use of it. It's just sitting on my bookshelf. It's starting to fall apart. I think it belonged to either maybe my dad or my grandparents. My mom had it, and then when she passed away, I got it. So I can't remember who owned it, but it's like this massive old atlas, and it's like huge, but it's like falling apart. So I might breathe some new life into it and maybe do something like that with it. But yeah, this is my Book of Shadows. It's nothing spectacular. It's pretty, you know, basic. So, you know, keep it simple, and that's all I need. I don't need anything super fancy. But that's it for now. See you guys later. That was my wave, which was totally out of frame. Ciao.